Ma, buongiorno a tutti. Hey, this is Yuzora, and today we'll be talking about the Aquila, the very first Italian carrier, which will be sitting at tier 8 as a premium. And honestly, well, she's alright. She's not a utterly overpowered carrier, but she's doing a decent job. So, Aquila is using two types of squadrons. She has squadrons of 5 by 2 by 5 attack aircrafts with AP rockets, as well as squadrons of 3 by 2 of torpedo bombers. So overall, the torpedo bombers will be our main squadron. They are actually fairly similar to what you could find on the Shokaku. So you have drops of 2 torpedoes, which are very narrow, and also the planes are super fast, so that you can zip through your target and drop quickly and then disengage just as fast. And as for the rocket planes, while they aren't as strong, well, if the matchmaking allows you, you can do pretty silly stuff. So each drop can unleash as much as 60 rockets. They are small rockets with low penetrations, but they are absolutely perfect to deal against small light cruisers. So if you're up tier, you will have an absolute blast dropping tier 6 cruisers, as you can see here. That poor nerd there, he didn't really enjoy his life. Yeah. Starting the game, 25k HP gone. That was nice. But yeah, they are mainly focused on dealing against light armor targets, because the penetration, well, the raw penetration is 122 millimeters. So against any sort of 5-tier cruiser, just forget about it. You will only get normal penetrations. But against low-tier light cruisers or stuff like Smolensk, you will be able to shred them quite nicely. In fact, the torpedoes have a bit of a, if I can call that a gimmick. They have a low arming threshold and short fuse, which means that they're also quite capable against destroyers. Now, of course, since it's rockets, you will need the destroyers to either have their anti-air turned on first, or you will need external spotting. But otherwise, you can quite reliably get some 4k, 5k, or even more drops on them. Against anything more armored, well, considering the sheer volume of rockets that you will be dropping, you will still get some pretty damn solid numbers, actually. Like, on battleships like, I don't know, for example, Richelieu, you can still get drops of 10k damage from pure penetrations and such. But considering the setup of these rocket squadrons, you shouldn't focus on it too much. So its drops, we only have 2 drops per squadrons, and since it's rocket planes, while the aircrafts are fast, you still are kind of crippled by the engine boost on rocket planes. So you can just spam them all the time. You will overall not get as many strikes as you would like to. Yeah, here I'm doing a bit of a... I won't say it was dumb, I just wanted to get that Nuremberg kill, but... yeah, he wasn't as keen on giving for broadside as he was at the start of the game. I think he learned his lesson. But yeah, in any case, the torpedo bombers will be more of your main squadron on this ship. Now, obviously, we'll still need to get some rotations going, because as much as the reserves on the Aquila are pretty damn good actually. She has very nice plane restoration time and also solid reserves. Well, proper rotation will still be very important because these planes are incredibly squishy. They are they have actually as much HP as those of tier 4 aircrafts. So yeah, you need to be very careful with what you're engaging, as otherwise, well, you will quickly run out of planes. Like Aquila, it's better of 50-50, as much as the reserves still allow you to play fairly aggressive. The plane's HP will just not forgive you for eating flak or, I don't know, going for stuff like a Haaland, thinking, hey, it's a DV, it will be fine. But, yeah, no, you might want to reconsider that. So, generally speaking, you particularly want to go for low-tier targets or isolated ships. Because otherwise, even with those fast restoration time, you will run out of planes fairly quickly if you are up tier. So, yeah, at least that's the good thing with the torpedo bombers, since you have drops of 2x2. You can quite easily pre-drop when it's needed, so reserves wise, if you do pre-dropping as you should when enemy anti-air requires you to, you should be more or less fine. Now the only problem is that since you only have 3 drops per squadron, well, even though the planes are the second, yeah, they are the second fast, actually they might be the third, I forgot in the mid-table. I'm actually not sure, but they are either the second or third fastest planes at tier 8. So, even with that, since you only have very few attack strike per squadron, you will still need to do a fair amount of rotations to get as much damage out as you would on a, I don't know, a Gaga or a Shokaku. In any case, at this point, the C cap was pretty swiftly cleared. I mean, it was 2 light cruisers plus the DDs that were kind of free kill. And now I can just nicely farm those 2 Bismarck and Tirpitz, which, well, you know, German battleships, you don't really have to fear their anti-air, especially the Tirpitz. It's just for your free real estate. And I actually need to be careful because, well, let's just say that the Aquila, she's not particularly well armored. Like on the Citadel, you have something like 30mm plating. So anything like a battleship swallowing you, it can go very badly for you very quickly. That's one thing to keep in mind with the Aquila on top of the reserves. Never been a position where a battleship could snipe you, because that can go very quickly, very poorly. It's kind of similar to what you had on the rebuffed United States, so at least this time the concealment is right, I would say. But yeah, she can get overmatched by anything for battleships. And even cruisers will have absolutely no issue just farming her down. Actually, yeah, even destroyers, as long as they don't just hit your flight deck, even for them it will be very easy to farm down an Aquila. Especially if it's at close quarter, because Aquila I mean, she has 4 guns per side, but it's destroyer guns, and they reload very slowly. So yeah, if you have a destroyer or even a submarine at close range, well, you're screwed. That's as much as I can say. You're just screwed. Maybe if it's a destroyer which is spotted and setting broadside, you can snap him with the rockets. But that's about it. So yeah, always be mindful of your positioning.
All stations requesting fire on the designated target.
So now that the 2 Tirpitz and Bismarck are just gone, it will be down to dealing with that Richelieu and Nagato, which will be a piece of cake to be fair. I mean, Nagato, she has basically no anti-air. The Richelieu, the mid-range and short-range are decent, but that's about it. Also, as you can see, I'm currently spoiled because there is a lightning really pushing inside our spawn. So we'll need to quickly take care of it, otherwise I might... Well, my battleships might be in trouble. But at this point of the game, it's still alright. Even if one gets dropped, that's just whatever at this point. But yeah, here with the lightning I can nicely illustrate what these rockets can do against destroyers. I'm sure she's not spoiled now, but I can just... Actually, yeah, I forgot the Mackensen, something like that, as Hydro, so... But yeah, it was an easy 5k drop on the lightning. And on any destroyer giving you broadside, you can expect that kind of drop. For the bigger ones, it can even go to 6k or 7k. But obviously, you need an early spotting, because otherwise you are shooting completely blind due to the distance at which you have to drop the rockets. But yeah, at this point the game is just done. It's the Nagato that will be quickly be taken care of. And then it's just the 2 carriers hiding in Narnia. I have to say though, well, I can understand that Wargaming had to nerf the ship a bit because, well, we already have a fair amount of carriers that are just too strong at tier 8. I'm a bit sad because she was incredibly pleasant to play in the early stages. Especially, you had a very special thing with the rockets that I called the Marceau effect, because that's something that was noticed first on the Marceau, well, mainly on Marceau, and it was that the rockets were dropping very high, which led to some rockets, they were hitting the water just in front of your target, and then they had enough momentum to reach the bottom of the citadel, which is in some cases very likely armored. And for example, I had the case on I remember a Soyuz, and I got something like 4 or 5 citadel on the guy with broken engine and such. And yeah, it took me a bit of time to understand what was going on. Like, these rockets, they just shouldn't have the penetration to penetrate the what's above the water. But yeah, they had a fairly easy time to penetrate what was below. But yeah, sadly, Wargaming decided to somewhat bring them back in line with the rest, and so now the rockets behave somewhat normally. You can still, I mean, they are still dropping a bit higher than that the other EP rockets, which means that in some cases, on stuff like 30mm deck armor, you can get penetrations, while before the rockets we just get bounces. Which does help a bit to get more damage out of it. In any case, Honestly, if the rest of the Italian carriers are anything like that, oh, why not? Honestly, why not? Now, knowing Wargaming, we might get stuff like semi-AP rockets or semi-AP bombs. We already know how they work at this point. But yeah, in any case, that will be all for me. So in the end, Aquila, why not? If you fancy an Italian premium carrier, you can go for it. She's pretty fine, honestly.